It's a great story, really. You know, you've got an athlete who develops atrial fibrillation after altitude training, seeks attention, gets seen quickly, gets sorted out quickly, and then goes on to win the gold medal in rowing. I mean, what advice would you have? There are so many people in this country, young people like yourself, some even younger, who've been diagnosed with cardiac diseases that aren't necessarily life-threatening. Any advice you have for them?
Just don't ignore it, and it's, you know, take these things seriously, not to be afraid of them. I think anything like this is always going to be a shock. It's always going to be a surprise, and something which makes you a little bit angry. And I think at the time for me, I was quite upset, and a little bit sort of depressed about it, because suddenly you're, as an athlete, you're taken out of the team, and then you've got to do your own training, and already had enough hours of being out of the boat and out of the team because of other injuries. But it's part of a process, and I think it's important not to, well, I mean, look, it's easy to say it, but it's not to sort of dwell on that sort of moment in a, you know, like things are against you. It's just a part of life that you've got to deal with, and you need to, sort of upfront these things, because it's quite easy to not ignore, but to think, you know, it'll sort itself out, or it's just another problem. But actually, when it's something like your heart, it is significant. And there's so many avenues, particularly in Britain, for treatment and going out and finding more information about it, better than many other countries around the world. We've got a great opportunity to maximise that. So, and the number of times it's been in the papers of people with heart conditions, hopefully there's, you know, the information is getting out there of understanding this and understanding heart conditions, particularly in the young. So for me, it's just one of those things and for parents, not to be afraid of, but it's something to be aware of. You know, it shouldn't detract anything from how we live, whether it's playing outdoors, playing football or whatever, and pushing yourself and extending yourself in that capacity. But as long as it's done in the right awareness, I'd say.
Just as a follow-up, we should possibly do another ECG and an echocardiogram.
Sure.
So I'll take you to the CRI Sport Cardiology Unit and get those tests underway now.
Excellent.
Okay. So Tom, the heart scan results are really good. Your left atrial size is only 3.8 centimetres, which is excellent, because normally we find that the bigger someone's left atrium, the higher their chance of developing atrial fibrillation in the future. We don't really like seeing left atrial sizes exceeding 4.5 centimetres in athletes, no matter how good or how big they are. So this is a really normal sized left atrium. So I think your chances of going back into atrial fibrillation are relatively small.
Brilliant. That's good news.
Yeah.
Very good news.
Very good news indeed.